Trump and American defense officials speaking to reporters last hour. Today's briefing following that dramatic weekend rescue of a U.S. airman in Iran and a new mediated push for a ceasefire. Trump also doubled down on his latest threats to Iran and his ultimatum to open the Strait of Hormuz.
We're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and after that, they're going to have no bridges, they're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah. Stone Ages.
The CBC's Katie Nicholson is in the U.S. Capitol for us. She was watching that briefing for us. So, Katie, good to have you back. The president continued to ramp up his threats against Iran ahead of a deadline tomorrow that he's imposed for them to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Talk to us more about what we're hearing from the president. He was pretty direct and curt with his words.
Yes, I mean, this builds on that jarring post yesterday on social media in which he basically said, they have to open the effing strait. It was a profane post, or, we are going to start destroying civilian infrastructure. In that specific tweet or post, he was talking about power plants and civilian infrastructure, which, of course, most international law experts, it is viewed through the eyes of international law as a war crime. There are limited exceptions to that. And so it has really caused quite a blowback within the U.S., particularly among Democrats, but also criticism around the international community around that particular plan if a deal is not struck by, as the timeline he has given, 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. He was asked by reporters, if you're going to target civilian infrastructure, is there anything that would be considered off limits? And this was his response.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
Now, you heard there the president saying he doesn't want that to happen. There continue to be indications of talks. The Iranians said earlier today that they rejected a 45-day ceasefire deal. They want something that's more lasting, more permanent. And Iranian state media reporting that a 10-point plan was sent to Pakistan this afternoon. Of course, the country helping with these mediations, but it isn't clear whether these negotiations are going to go anywhere. And of course, the rhetoric continues to be heated. We heard a post today from Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, who on Telegram posted that assassinations and crimes won't disrupt Iranian armed forces. So some pushback there as well from Iran's sort of new supreme leader.
So, Katie, as we've been watching sort of what could be unfolding over the next few hours, perhaps leading into tomorrow, the president also talked in great detail about the rescue of the airmen in Iran. Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, and some of the details have to be held back because of a lot of this operation and the way that it was conducted. It still falls under classified rules, but incredible details about the daring rescue, particularly around some of the ordeal and the way in which the airmen relied on his training. So we learned that the weapons officer, this was the person who it took longer to extract. The pilot, of course, of that F-15 was rescued within hours. So the weapons officer, it turns out, was ejected quite a distance from the pilot's location. And we learned that, of course, he was injured. That had been consistent with some of the reporting. And the President Trump sort of detailed how it is that he survived despite those injuries and relying on his training. Just take a listen to a little bit of that.
The officer followed his training and climbed into the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to evade capture. They want to always go as far away from the site of the shoot down. You want to go as far away because they all head right to that site. You want to be as far away as you can. And he was injured, and he was an amazing, amazing thing. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location.
So this officer essentially scaled into a mountain crevice, which is where the CIA was eventually able to pinpoint his location, and then the military operation began. And we got some new details about all those images of planes that had to be left behind, charred, blown up C-130s. They had apparently landed in Iran at a farm with very sandy, soft soil, and they sort of got stuck in the earth and couldn't take off. So smaller planes were sent in to fly everyone back to safety. And the Daily Mail, Angie, is reporting that those smaller aircraft were de Havilland Dash 8s, which of course are Canadian-made planes. The U.S. military does have some of these that they do use. So an interesting Canadian connection there to this rescue operation as well.
Indeed, and we did hear the president touting about the sophistication of those small aircraft, those small helicopters during that address. Katie, thank you so much for this. The CBC's Katie Nicholson for us in Washington.